Are you tired of hearing about how illegal this knife is to own? How's it going, everybody? I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny. And if you would, take a jog down to the comments section and let me know if you're burnt out on that video title. While you're down there, smack the like button because we're doing things differently. And when you do that, you tell YouTube that you're ready for new knife content that you've not seen before. Today we're talking about this guy. This is the super illegal, land you in jail, the ATF will show up and shoot your dog, Reate Exo M, the gravity knife. It's a gravity knife. And there's a lot of misconceptions about gravity knives out there, and we're going to go over that. We're going to talk about it. And so you might actually be surprised to find out that it is very legal for you to own one of these. We're not going to fluff about. This is the Reate Exo M. Let's check it out. All right, here we are, guys. This is the super illegal gravity knife, the Reate Exo M, and I gotta say, I'm so excited to finally be able to talk about this knife and to have it on my channel. This knife has been hyped to all get out, and it seems like everybody just wants to title their videos
the most illegal knife ever.
You know what? And no hate. Look, no hate to those channels that do that. I get it. We want people to click on the video, because if you don't click, then you know, we don't get views, and our time was spent to not have people watch our content. So I get it. I totally get it. But let's be clear about one thing. While gravity knives are illegal in some areas, it's not as many as you'd think. I actually did a YouTube short recently where I touched on this briefly. Check it out. If you do a brief Google search, here is what you will find. So, unless you live in the somewhat great state of Delaware, no offense to Delaware, you can own one of these knives. That's right, you can own one of these knives. Now, municipality laws, or laws specifically for the city that you live in, if you live in a city, those can be different. But not everybody lives in a city. So, chances are, if it's not illegal in your state, it's not illegal for you to carry. And keep in mind as well, something else that I have to mention about this is that while there are certain areas where they still say do not carry a gravity knife, there's also many areas where they say do not carry a knife over 3 inches. So that's kind of why I'm tired of the whole hype train of this knife is illegal, because it spreads a bad narrative. And I wanted to start off by talking about that, because I'm not here to spread false narratives for the sake of getting views. And while this knife was much more illegal a year, 2 years ago, luckily a lot of knife rights activists have gotten through to lawmakers, and the laws are getting better and better. And when I say that, I mean that they're starting to go away. You know, these knives were often portrayed as, you know, something that is too easy to conceal and too quick to deploy. But you know what? If I really wanted to deploy my knife quickly, I would just, you know, use my Spyderco with this wave, and it would deploy the moment I pull it out of my pocket. You know, and even though, yes, this is an out the front knife, it's not a OTF knife. In fact, most OTFs are more illegal than this. I wonder how many clicks I would get if I just said less illegal than an OTF. Maybe I should name the video that. You'll know if you're watching it. I wonder what I named this video. But I digress. The reason why I was so drawn to this knife was not because of its questionable legal nature, but because I like knives that you want to carry and that you want to hold. And on top of that, the Reate Exo M is a knife that Reate listened to the community. That's right. They listened to the community, because when the original Exo came out, it did not have a pocket clip, and it also did not have a locking mechanism, which meant that if you tried to put this in your pocket, there's a very good chance that this would just pop open and then stab you in the leg, which was no good. And it made the very first one more of a novelty than anything else. I'm happy to say that this is no longer the case. Now, before I get too far ahead of myself, yes, I have the box here. And the reason I have the box here is because there is some cool stuff. First and foremost, on one side it shows the spec. This is the XOM. Black micarta on the inlay. That micarta is awesome, by the way. It's got titanium bead blasted with CPM 3V on the blade steel, which is not the best for edge retention, but it is very, very tough, which I think is cool. This specific one is a drop point, and check it out. These are serialized. So if you're someone that's into collecting specifically and you like serialized knives, here you go. This is for you. Now, if you haven't ever opened up a Reate box, what you'll find inside is that first and foremost, it has a magnetic clasp. I love magnetic clasps. And you're met by this. Now, a lot of people will look at this and they'll go like, oh, cool, and throw it away and be like, oh, give me the knife. Don't do that, because inside here is some really, really important stuff. First and foremost, if you want it, you can, store it in this nice, silky, smooth pouch. Hey, silica gel. But more importantly is the cleaning cloth, and then, of course, extra screws. Thank you. Extra screws all day. All day, I will take that. I think that more knives should come with extra hardware. That is something that I completely agree with. So, if you have one of these and you just tossed this piece right here, don't do that. It also comes with a pretty nifty patch. As you can see, I put it on my pouch already. Yeah, that's kind of cool. The Reate logo. All right, cool. So, despite the fact that everyone seems to love unboxings, I am terrible at them and I just don't do them. I wanted to talk about this guy. I think that it's a really, really nifty knife because it's ambidextrous and it's really fidget friendly. That lock seems solid to me. It's not going to open up in the pocket. You have to purposefully disengage that lock to get it to fly out. And then you can, of course, wow, that was a terrible deployment. You can, of course, actuate it once it's unlocked. That is so much fun to do. And I really like hearing the sound of the blade slide out from the chassis, from the exoskeleton. When you pop this handle up, you'll see that your serial number is right there. As you can see, mine was made in January of this year, and the serial number is 362. Now, if you don't like black micarta, that's totally fine because they did come out with a burlap colored and a green colored micarta. If you don't like this drop point style, which I actually really do, good news is they do have a tanto, they do have a dagger style as well, so you can get it in all of the different combinations. And I really enjoy the fact that because it has this titanium pocket clip right here, that you do not have to get a custom sheath for it. Now, some people with the original Exo actually really like the sheath. Personally, I don't like having to put stuff on my belt. I just don't. Sheaths are not necessarily a big thing for me, but it is what it is. It does have some moderate jimping right up here at the top, and the ergonomics on this handle actually feel really good. The pocket clip is titanium, but it's of the stamped variety, and there's nothing really to write home about, but it does fit in the pocket well, except for one thing. You see that screw? That screw should have been a flat screw, but instead it's kind of this dome screw. So depending upon your pants material, it has the opportunity to kind of get caught on that screw. So it's not a big deal if you're paying attention, but it's the small things where I'm like, okay, that is something that is a bit of an oversight. Give us flat screws on our pocket clips, please. Please, can we make that a standard? No more dome screws for pocket clips. It's just a no-no. Just give us flat screw heads, okay? All right, rant over. Now, for the rest of this, I really enjoy the action on here. Something that I was thinking of is, I wonder whether or not down the road people will need to lubricate these tracks, and I don't think so. I don't think so because there's no bearings there, and I think that lube might actually just, you know, promote dust clogging up in there and causing a bit of an issue. It does have a pivot, which is funny because it is not in fact a folding knife as we would classify it, but it runs on this hinge, and that hinge is very smooth. Now this knife does have a bit of a rattle. Something that multiple people have asked me so far is, does your knife rattle? And the answer is sometimes. If I'm not holding it and I do that, there's the rattle. But if I have any kind of grip on here at all, no rattle. So to me, it's a non-issue. It adds to the novelty of the sound of the knife, which I think is pretty cool. Furthermore, this is a knife steel that I'm not super familiar with. Now, I know that 3V is a tool steel. It's meant to be very durable. People do not write home about its edge retention, but I'm sure that it's serviceable. And as long as it's something that's easy to sharpen, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. On the blade, it says CPM 3V. I don't know why they put that there. I honestly feel like that's a waste of printing on the blade. There's no need for it to be there. On the other side, it is a sterile blade. There is no billboarding whatsoever, but here on the handle scales, it does say Reate. So yeah, that's cool. As far as the inlay itself, the inlay is very well done. I would expect nothing less from the likes of Reate. Reate has some of the best fit and finish in the game for production knives, period. And this one definitely does not disappoint. I love how this looks and feels futuristic. And if you didn't know, like if you're wondering, what's the point of a gravity knife? What's the point? So gravity knives were essentially made initially way back when for paratroopers. If you're parachuting down and you get stuck in a tree and you need to cut your line, this was supposed to be something that you could easily actuate to deploy and cut your lines, and, you know, possibly even self-defense, but I don't even necessarily think that that was the case. So a knife designed for paratroopers, now massively illegal because you look way too dang cool when you do that. Oh man, we need some common sense knife laws, please. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Were you able to pick one of these up? Because as of right now, they are pretty much, if not already sold out everywhere, they will be very soon. These were dropped in a lot of different places. I think I saw some on eKnives that were still available yesterday, but don't quote me. These are very popular, and I do know that they're going to be doing more releases of these. So let me know what your thoughts are. Are you planning on picking one up? Do you think it's dumb how many people want to talk about how illegal these are when they're no more or less illegal than knives that are over 3.5 inches in blade length? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, boo-hoo, you know what to do. And if you want to see more knife content just like this, make sure you hit subscribe and tap that notification bell. I'm Rollshambo. I'll catch you on the flip side.